The glamorous world of Hollywood has always been filled with dazzling red carpets, box office hits, and carefully curated public images. But every so often, a celebrity's private reality collides with public scrutiny, and when it does, the fallout can be intense. That's exactly what's happening right now with Blake Lively. Known for her elegance, wit, and squeaky clean image, Blake is suddenly facing an avalanche of questions after explosive details from her deposition quietly slipped into a new court filing. And fans can't stop talking about what she said and, more importantly, what she didn't say. For months, speculation has swirled around Blake's involvement in an ongoing legal battle that has rocked both her fanbase and the entertainment industry. Whispers of behind-the-scenes media manipulation, unanswered emails, and subtle attempts to control the narrative have cast a long shadow. Until now, all we had were headlines, legal interpretations, and statements from attorneys, but everything changed when a portion of Blake's sworn testimony was included in a recent court document. It's only a few pages long, but it speaks volumes. In this excerpt, Blake directly addresses one of the biggest accusations leveled against her. Did she attempt to smear the plaintiff through back-channel media tactics? Her answer: I have never engaged in or authorized any campaign of that nature. The phrase has set off alarm bells online. Some are calling it a clear denial. Others see it as a carefully calculated response, one designed to protect her legally, without completely shutting the door on future revelations. The line between legal truth and public narrative is often razor thin, and in Blake's case, her deposition is being interpreted not just as part of a legal defense but as a statement to the world about who she really is. Can someone who built a reputation on authenticity survive this level of scrutiny, or is her brand at risk of being overshadowed by legal ambiguity? Social media exploded within hours of the document's appearance. Hashtags trended, fans defended her, critics pounced. Legal analysts broke down her phrasing with surgical precision. And still, amid all the chaos, Blake herself has remained silent in public, letting the documents speak for her. But in today's age of digital transparency, even silence speaks volumes. This video dives into the real story behind the deposition, what was revealed, what it means, and why it matters more than most people realize. We'll explore how Blake's statement is being interpreted across legal, public, and media circles, and what it could mean for her image moving forward. Is this just a misunderstood quote taken out of context? Or is there something more lurking behind the calm, composed words? From courtroom drama to public intrigue, we're breaking down the facts, analyzing the statements, and revealing the bigger picture behind one of Hollywood's most unexpected legal turns. So stay tuned, because the Blake Lively deposition story isn't just about what happened. It's about what's still to come. You said the legal whirlwind surrounding Blake Lively continues to stir intrigue across Hollywood, and now a fresh twist has captured public attention. A new court document quietly filed in the ongoing case has revealed unexpected deposition details, and they're making waves for one very specific reason. Blake Lively, a name synonymous with elegance and charm, seems to have addressed one of the most controversial points in the entire lawsuit: whether she ever initiated a smear campaign. The subtlety of the admission or denial buried deep within the transcript is what fans and legal analysts are now dissecting word by word. This recent revelation didn't come with flashing lights or a big courtroom moment. Instead, it slipped into public view through a supplemental filing where her legal team attached a partial transcript of Blake's deposition for evidentiary purposes. In it, Blake's demeanor is calm and measured. She appears composed, not shaken. Her words, however, raised eyebrows. When asked directly if she had orchestrated any media outreach or collaborated with publicists to spread negative coverage about the plaintiff, Blake offered a carefully worded response. I have never engaged in or authorized any campaign of that nature. No campaign of that nature. That's the line echoing across social media and legal circles alike. It's a denial, yes, but a soft one that leaves room for interpretation. Legal commentators have already begun analyzing the phraseology. Could this be Blake simply protecting herself legally, or is it an honest and straightforward rejection of the claims leveled against her? Regardless of the intent behind the statement, this moment represents a shift in the case's tone. For weeks, much of the discussion has come from leaked rumors, cryptic filings, and attorney soundbites. But now we're hearing from Blake herself, even if indirectly, and that changes the landscape. The deposition excerpt included in the document doesn't run long, just under 8 pages, but it offers more clarity than anything we've seen thus far. Blake's responses are deliberate. She refrains from inflammatory remarks and instead emphasizes boundaries. I trust my team, she notes at one point, but I don't micromanage public response strategies. My focus has always been my work and my family. It's clear that her legal counsel prepped her well. Her tone is factual and she avoids speculation or emotional commentary. Yet when the questioning shifted toward her digital interactions, text, emails, or social media discussions involving the plaintiff, Blake acknowledged some exchanges existed. She was transparent about responding to messages from associates or mutual contacts regarding the incident at the heart of the case, though she stressed that none of those communications were defamatory or manipulative in nature. One interesting detail emerged when she was asked if she had spoken with any media outlets directly. Not in any capacity involving this situation, she stated. It's a pointed answer that again doesn't shut the door entirely. If her team did speak to the press and she wasn't involved directly, does that absolve her legally? Perhaps, but publicly the court of opinion may be less forgiving. For now it seems Blake is positioning herself as someone slightly distanced from the operations of her team. She's drawing a fine line between being informed and being involved. Whether that distinction will hold up in court remains to be seen, but it certainly adds a layer of nuance to an already complex story. The court of public opinion didn't take long to weigh in. Almost immediately after the document was uploaded to the docket, fans, critics, and legal experts started analyzing the deposition on social media platforms. Hashtags like #BlakeSpeaks and #LivelyDeposition began trending, accompanied by threads from armchair lawyers and professional commentators alike. Legal analysts are split on what to make of Blake's phrasing. Some suggest that her denial, although technically sound, leaves open to much ambiguity. Others argue that it was a smart legal move, firm enough to deny wrongdoing, but vague enough to protect against possible contradictions in other evidence. Attorney Mia Clarkson, known for high-profile celebrity legal commentary, noted during a recent podcast, "What Blake Lively's team has done here is control the narrative by offering just enough of the deposition to shape public perception while withholding more detailed sections that might reveal conflicting viewpoints. It's strategic, not accidental." Meanwhile, fans remain divided. Some express full confidence in Blake's innocence, praising her grace under pressure and her consistent message of non-involvement. Others remain skeptical, pointing out that the wording could easily mask behind-the-scenes maneuvering. She didn't say she never communicated about the issue, only that she didn't authorize a campaign. One tweet pointed out, garnering thousands of likes. The emotional reactions are heightened, of course, by the fact that this isn't just about legal responsibility, it's about trust, influence, and reputation. Blake Lively has spent years cultivating a public image grounded in sincerity and strength. Anything that even hints at manipulation threatens to erode that image. This deposition excerpt may be just the beginning. Legal experts anticipate that more of Blake's testimony will eventually be made public, either by her team to reinforce her stance or by the opposing counsel as part of their case strategy. If that happens, we might see stronger, more definitive statements or contradictions that reignite the drama. For now, the court will decide how much weight to give this partial transcript. The presiding judge may request the full deposition to ensure context isn't lost, and both sides will continue to build their narratives using every tool available, including social momentum and media interpretation. Behind closed doors, both legal teams are likely in strategy mode. Will Blake take the stand again in a public hearing? Will more documents leak out? Is a settlement quietly being negotiated? These questions remain unanswered, but one thing is clear: the case is entering a more transparent phase. That transparency may benefit Blake if the rest of her deposition remains consistent with what's been released. But if cracks emerge, the damage could grow exponentially and beyond legal repercussions. There's the question of professional fallout. Will this controversy affect Blake's brand partnerships, upcoming roles, or public appearances? So far, she's kept a relatively low profile, but fans are keeping a watchful eye. This case has taken on a life of its own, not just as a legal dispute, but as a reflection of celebrity culture, power dynamics, and media influence. At its core, it's about accountability in an era where digital whispers can turn into full-blown storms. Blake Lively, who for years maintained a sterling public image, now faces the challenge of defending that reputation not only in a courtroom but across every social platform. What's especially notable is how this entire situation underscores the blurred lines between public relations and personal responsibility. When celebrities operate through teams, reps, and intermediaries, where does accountability land? Blake's denial of any smear campaign, delivered in careful legal language, forces fans and critics alike to consider that very question. The deposition also raises an important point about the nature of celebrity litigation today. Transparency is no longer optional. With court filings easily accessible online, even the most minor statement can become headline news that means. Stars like Blake Lively must walk a razor-thin line between legal caution and public engagement. As the case moves forward, the next steps may decide whether this remains a manageable controversy or spirals into a full-blown career obstacle. For now, the court of public opinion is split, but all eyes are watching what the next document, the next quote, or the next hearing will reveal. As the latest court documents unveil a portion of Blake Lively's deposition, the conversation surrounding her legal entanglement takes a new turn. Her carefully constructed denial, stating she never engaged in or authorized a campaign of that nature, offers insight into her defense strategy while raising just as many questions as it answers. It's not a bombshell revelation, but rather a calculated step meant to assert control over a narrative that has increasingly spiraled beyond the courtroom. This case now stands at the intersection of celebrity legal nuance and media scrutiny. Blake Lively has long been seen as a figure of grace and integrity in Hollywood, but even she is not immune to the high-stakes consequences of public perception. The decision to release part of her deposition may have been tactical, but it's now being interpreted, dissected, and debated far beyond the courtroom. What happens next could be pivotal. If additional deposition segments are made public or contradict her current statements, the consequences could be significant, not just legally but in terms of her public image and professional future. Alternatively, if her statements continue to reflect consistency and transparency, it may strengthen her credibility and resolve in the eyes of the public. Ultimately, this is more than just a legal matter, it's a revealing moment in modern celebrity culture. With every document that leaks, with every statement analyzed, the public sees a little more of what goes on behind the carefully polished surface of fame, and in that spotlight, even the smallest words like "no smear" carry immense weight. All eyes now turn to what comes next as Blake Lively's carefully guarded narrative faces its most intense scrutiny yet.